Hello and welcome to episode 104 of Unqualified Game Chat. I'm hoping it's 104. I think it is.
It's probably close to that.
I'm Azario Lopez, and with me today is my brother in a yellow shirt, Spencer.
Yeah, good burger.
Legacy. We missed last week. I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
I was sick.
So I had the sniffles.
I'm still kind of sick. I'm still coughing. It's a long sickness. It's not COVID. It's not COVID.
I
checked.
wonder what it is. Flu.
It's probably just life. Just like saying, you know what? You don't have it hard enough. Let's turn it up.
Let's give you some trials. Everyone loves a good trial.
Let's really test you. Let's really put your convictions
to
the test.
The classic life gambit.
Mucinex. That's the key to stop
green guys running around inside you from the commercial.
That's what I think about every time I take it. I imagine them coming out every time I cough. Yeah. Oh, I guess I'm moving in. Guess I'm moving.
I'm in the Lopez house now.
Hanging up his hat.
Yeah. I'm here to stay.
No, don't take the Mucinex.
And then you take the Mucinex and he goes, and then he goes flying out. Beautiful. This podcast is sponsored by Mucinex.
Fuck that booger. So this episode also is going to come out on YouTube and on Patreon simultaneously. Sorry, but I wanted to do like a Thanksgiving type episode, and I didn't want to like repeat the 103 on the YouTube, so I'm totally skipping episode 103. So that is Patreon exclusive.
Wow. That's
this one
bonus.
104 is going to be a kind of a reminder that if you do want these episodes a week early and to like interact and comment, which no one does and you should on the Patreon, give us some questions or let us know what's up. I do respect and appreciate the people that are on Patreon, because I do believe that many of them are just there to support us, and that's
great.
You all supported Spencer getting a new mic. So
yes. Oh yeah. He's gonna get a new mic, and our audio quality is only gonna improve. It's gonna get so good. It's gonna be Noisy Pixel ASMR. And you're gonna get uncomfortable and stop listening. You're gonna be like, "This is weird now."
Or they're gonna get a little more comfortable.
You're like, "Ooh, it's time for my weekly Noisy Pixel tingles."
I need the tales. I need the Noisy Pixel tales. Their stories.
Yeah. Then I go, "Ooh." That's
It has been a busy week. A lot has happened, but I do think that I just want to reflect on a man, a producer, a legend, an executive named Shuhei Yoshida.
A legend.
I really can't begin. Sorry if I get emotional right now, but it's rare for someone in your gaming life to be completely present from the first time you play one of your favorite RPGs. Like for me, it was Legend of Dragoon, to actually being in the same room, actually saying hi, actually shaking hands with that person. And I think it's insane to think that like, wow, this guy has been in my life for my gaming career.
Yeah.
And I've probably been in his life for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I am so thankful for that.
Yeah. And he's an incredibly nice guy. We both met him. And he's always very happy to talk and take photos and tell stories. And that's what you hope for when you idolize these people for years. And then when they meet that expectation, you're like, wow, this is great. This is exactly what I hoped for.
It is cool because you look online and the people that so Shuhei Yoshida is leaving Sony, I guess is the headline. I think he's still going to be working in indie development in some capacity. I think he's maybe just bringing awareness to indie games. He'll announce it. Let him speak for himself on there. But for his legacy at Sony is one that I think, man, they just lost a winner.
They're gonna miss him. They'll notice he's gone.
Yeah. I don't know who can replace that voice, kind of that. I do think he was the reason why Last Guardian was even
Survived.
released.
Yeah.
I think he was a huge player in all things Japan studio, and the Vita and the indie space for PlayStation, and where Sony kind of wrote these indies off. And you know that from the early years of Xbox, where their Xbox Live was just dominating in terms of digital sales for indie games. Shuhei Yoshida rose up and what did he moved over in like 2019, 2018 to like an indie place. And yeah, it's just like kind of sucks for Sony.
Yeah, he's a big, like you said with indies, like he's a pillar of Sony.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how they replace that. Like I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who would be a natural fit for that specifically, because it's also just like as time goes on, more people that we knew from the industry for years ago, like Sean Layton left a while ago. One day Mark Cerny will retire, and it's all these people who
That
were part of
commercial
these
guy.
formative
What's that
years.
commercial guy?
Kevin Butler. Kevin Butler. I loved Kevin Butler.
Oh, rest in peace.
He rocked. He was so cool.
He just needed a piece of that Nintendo pie like the rest of us.
He did. That's such a goofy thing. Anyone who's like a Zoomer and doesn't like watch the Kevin Butler commercials for PlayStation, they're so funny. They're like peak PS3 era Sony. But yeah, all these people from these formative years that we remember are eventually going to be departing from the company like this. So it's a grim reminder that's coming. But what a legacy and testament to his talent, him leaving. Like I've seen everyone talking about it.
Yeah, and they all have similar stories. They all have a similar experience, and for someone to just leave everybody with like this sense of joy. I've heard stories of him going to like Bit Summit and just hanging out with like Suda51 and stuff like that, and like, fuck, I wish I was in those rooms, man.
God, that would be so cool to hear him and Suda51 talking about
just
shit.
Talking.
That'd be
just
so
talking. Sick. Yeah, if you need to follow someone's legacy or look through someone's Wikipedia page, I suggest reading the Shuhei Yoshida's. He has an incredible sense of understanding of the game development from someone who never planned to be in games development. He never wanted that. He didn't even believe in what a PlayStation console was when he first joined Sony, and you can kind of see that in he's doing a couple interviews with Dengeki, but he did that PlayStation Blogcast podcast, so I suggest listening to that. Man, what a blow.
Yeah, it's big. That's gonna leave ripples. He's a big figure. That's big shoes to fill for whoever comes next, because he's done so much in over so much time.
What if he goes to Nintendo?
That would be fucking wild. That would be insane. What if he goes to Microsoft?
He's there for the launch of the Switch too.
Yeah. God. Oh man. No, but and if he is gonna retire, then it's well earned. But I hope he does something, because just having him around, it's like how I even like the Simpsons season since like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's still going, I'm like, the Simpsons still exists. It was the same with I fell off Naruto Shippuden when it was towards the end, but I was like, Naruto's been going since I was like 5, so I'm glad that it's still going. Yeah, it's nice to have those constants.
It's kind of nostalgia, but it also gives you an even stepping ground with people of all ages to kind of re-enter the space and be like, I watched this too, or I was into this too. It gives you a fighting chance in some of these nerdy circles to keep up and tell your story, because they're experiencing it now, but you experienced it years ago in a time where it wasn't as easy to watch, or you had to schedule out an entire Saturday to watch your cartoons in the morning. And I don't know. It's that like these long series are just they just even Kamen Rider. I've noticed like Kamen Rider and like Power Rangers and all those. Like if you just watched one season of any of those shows, you are automatically in the conversation because you could just be like, oh yeah, I watched this season of Kamen Rider, and they'd be like, oh yeah, and then automatically it's like it's cool.
It is cool, and like it's an easy, especially things like Power Rangers, where it's like such a cultural, massive thing that even if you only watched like the first season, everyone will be like, "Oh, which Ranger is your favorite?" Like there's so much to talk about, and it's the same with people like Shuhei Yoshida and whatnot, where it's just like, "Oh, which Shuhei gamer? What's your favorite like memory of his?" It's one of the things that was really sad about losing E3 is there's so many E3 like so many E3 moments that you could talk to people online about, like Ridge Racer and Coffee Guy,
1 million troops,
and attack the weak point for massive damage. Like there was so many moments over the years that were so iconic that like if someone knew one of those moments, you're like, oh, they're an intense gamer because they know like E3 moments of like goofy shit, like the guy going Peggle 2 and like jumping.
Or the reveal of like the first controller for the PlayStation 3 and that like boomerang,
the hoop. It was like a weird arc. There's so many moments like that, like everything Reggie said ever, like where it's just like it really is. It's sad to see those kind of moments go, and it's a similar feeling with someone like Shuhei leaving, where it's just like, oh, another big part of that time period has departed. So it's a shame.
Yeah, with I think it was my second E3. I got invited to the PlayStation E3 showcase, and so it's my first one. I think it was 2016, but I walk in and I sit down and I look to the left, and it's fucking Shuhei Yoshida, man.
Yeah,
nobody recognizes him. I don't say anything, and everyone's still taking their seats, and our row is full, so things are like calmed down in our row at least. And I say Yoshida-san, and I shake his hand, and the only thing I can think to talk about is Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah,
and I honestly can't remember what he was talking about, but he was telling me some stuff about his time on that and how he kind of approached that game, and I was just in awe of like everything he was doing. And I was like, can I just give you my business card? And he's like, sure. And he gives me his. And so I have Yoshida's business card. And so I come home and I put his business card in my copy of Legend of Dragoon. So I have it in there.
That's awesome.
It's stuff like that that I feel like nobody can take those moments away from me as a gamer, as a person, as a fan of this medium. You know, it's like
it's defining. It's a huge
I don't, and let me say, I don't take any of that for granted. How I even got there, I didn't have a car back, so I took a train. You know, like I paid my way into these events. I was volunteering at a small website who can only get like 1 or 2 people into E3. I think sometimes they never actually approved 3 people. It was always just 2 people for us.
Yeah.
And I think years later we kind of gamed the system where we bought tickets, I think, for a couple of people.
Yeah, once once everyone could go in general admittance, we would do that too, where we'd get additional tickets to they started being a little more weird about the press passes when that thing opened up to the public. They got more stingy.
That was one of the times where I'm like, I did it, you know. There's been a few moments like that, and you met him at the long lost PlayStation experience.
Yeah, I think the last one, judging from the photo that I think we're using,
yes,
the lighting looks like PSX or maybe one of the E3 PlayStation areas, but it's like very purple blue lighting. No, that was good. I saw him, and Will was like, "Oh, whoa!" And I was like, "Oh, wow, yeah, there's Yoshida." I went up and I was like, "Oh, Yoshida-san, I'm a big fan. Can I please have a photo?" He was like, "Yeah, absolutely," and like took a photo. We talked a little bit. It was really nice. It was a cool moment. It was just like, wow, so like I said, so personable and so like chill. And
Yeah,
every
we were
photo of him,
talking
he's
about this.
smiling.
Gio Corsi was walking around that show handing out Vita games back then.
Yeah,
That's how cool this like whole event was. It was
PSX rocked.
I do kind of it was kind of it was cringy, but when they started pairing it with the Capcom Cup, I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that was
That was
cool.
cool because
I
it
think
gave
the
you something
last
to
one.
do after you played all the games. You just go watch the
Yeah,
fucking finals of the Capcom Cup, you know?
that last one was good because you they had these cards that you could collect by trying every game. So it was
Oh
like, oh, it's like
yeah.
a fun side thing. They had photo opportunities with like Days Gone and Spider-Man areas. They had the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite tournament. They had an Uncharted panel with all the voice actors. It was like all this stuff where it was like, wow, this is huge and awesome. And then they're like, well, that's the last one. So it's like, oh, well, you guys found like such a good format to do with this with. But
Nah, they once they see the budget, I think once
yeah,
they
that's fair.
if they can't if I think if these companies can't monetize something, they check out pretty quickly.
It's a shame. 'Cause, I mean, I can see why it costs a lot because I remember there was like a huge like Shadow of the Colossus head with like steam coming out of it on the show floor,
Yeah.
and like all the Gran Turismo stations and like dead bodies hanging for
Oh
like
yeah.
days gone. It
Even
was
like
like,
Gung
wow,
Ho's booth, even Gung
yeah,
Ho, yeah, it was like this huge like fences everywhere and like this like medical like weird
I
thing
remember
going
that.
on.
That was
Yeah,
creepy. Yeah,
E3 was kind of like that too. You had
yeah.
like Walking Dead booths, and Ubisoft had this huge. God,
When
those
they
we
went the
don't.
extra mile E3, like you could go into the diner from Wolfenstein, or like the when you did the Final Fantasy VII remake demo,
Oh
the
yeah,
security people in line were dressed like Turks and they were like really strict. It was like, wow, this is so cool.
yeah.
It was
Atlas used to
awesome.
have like the Yakuza Alley kind of
Yeah,
thing on their booth.
Ocho, the Amazing Alley. I remember.
Yeah,
God, that was every single show they went to that was there, and every time I was so excited because I was like, man, I'm in
this is a cool setup.
Kamurocho. All the demos are along the street.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Uh,
Oh, miss events. Miss you, Yoshida-san.
yes,
Thanks for giving us the memes, you know.
exactly.
So what have you been playing, Spencer? What have you been up to?
I'm almost done Metaphor. I'm on the second last dungeon, but like they're connected. I think they're like quick after each other. The last two. It's called. I
Can
think
you
it's
give
called.
us a metaphor for Metaphor? It's
Um,
like
Metaphor is a hurricane in my heart, calming down as you enter the eye of it, and it's a beautiful island that you can relax on. That's
beautiful.
Metaphor. Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's a beautiful. It's a cartoon desert island with one palm tree, and I'm laying there with sunglasses on and swim trunks, and I'm like, wow.
Are you
I'm
playing it like
loving
the
it.
rest of these nerds where they're like, don't say it's Persona, don't say it's Persona?
I mean, it's very clearly like Atlas, like like there's social links and essentially the press turn system, like a
Yeah.
similar and whatnot. But I think it differentiates itself enough in terms of the character archetypes and the plot and the theming, how it's more medieval and the Bosch inspired art. I've been really enjoying that. This last dungeon, I'm trying to get all the last classes for each character, and then after that, I'm probably going to play Star Wars Outlaws because they just patched it up
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
will give me his copy, and I was like, yes, I can play it. And I sent me it a while ago, but I was like, oh, I want to play Metaphor first, and then with all these patches, I think it'll be a much smoother
You're
experience
playing
than
on PS5?
yeah. And I figure this is the time to play because I never played it before, so I didn't get any of the. I'll be playing it in its most polished form,
Mm,
which I mean, I'm already like you can see behind. Like I'm a sucker for Star Wars already,
yeah.
so I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But yeah, so that's and then Dragon
Well,
Quest
I've been
III.
hearing a lot about Stalker 2 lately, and
Yeah, me
on
too.
reviews of Stalker 2, there's been some debates going on if people should have held off on their reviews.
Yeah, because it's like a rough build before the patches and stuff, right? Like they're working on it right now.
Yeah, yeah, we did. We held off on it because the developers were very transparent. They were, I think I got an email like every 3 days saying like, this is what we fixed. This is what's left. Let us know if you see anything. We're down to add it to the list. Like, a lot of, I don't know, not a lot of developers do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just like say, well, if you don't see it, you don't see it. You know, if you do, you do.
Yeah.
But
I had a similar experience.
They play the odds.
Yeah, they're like, hopefully this is a. It's always nice when they're very transparent. I had a similar experience with Retro Realms when I reviewed that, where I was like, "Oh, the game keeps crashing at this one part. I'm this character doing this in this part," and they were like, "Oh, that's amazing. We just found the thing. Thank you. Like, we'll fix that right now." Yeah, and I was like, "Wow, what a cool like process this is." Like,
I definitely that's what I do tend to do that more. It's harder when it's like the embargo's on like a Tuesday and you hit the bug on a Friday night and you're like, fuck, well, no one's gonna answer my email.
Yeah, exactly. And then Monday's a holiday. And
and then Monday's a holiday. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Guess I'll figure it out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's definitely moments like that.
But yeah, those are all. And then I have Dragon Quest 3, and I want to play that after Star Wars, but I want to break between big RPGs. So
yeah. I've returned recently to Sandland.
I want to play that.
Yeah, I'm doing like I want to do like a December video essay on it. The game just gets bigger and bigger, and I will say it right now, it is Bandai Namco's best anime game.
That's exciting. I'm hoping it goes out for a Game of the Year code soon because I want to play it really bad.
Yeah, it is. It's So I look out for that. I'm taking a little bit of inspiration from some of Ace Bonanza's videos in terms of personality and approach, but
that Spider-Man video is doing really well. I don't know if you nerds are the ones watching it, but it's almost at 1,000, and that's very exciting. So thank you all.
Yeah, how many subscribers are you at now?
I'm at 529, 530.
We got to get it up.
Got to get it up there.
Yeah,
might be plans for
Daddy
that.
needs a new Corvette.
Oh, if I could get YouTube money, whew.
You can at least buy Taco Bell or something.
At least buy Taco Bell. That would rock. Uber Eats Taco Bell for free, basically. Yeah.
The money off of YouTube isn't as, I don't think it's as significant as it was.
You got to supplement that with sponsors and Patreon if you want to.
Yeah, that's the bummer thing about watching like AVGN nowadays. It's like, gotta fast forward through this. VPN
sponsored by NordVPN, and then you're like, oh, okay. The first 6 minutes are going to be, here's why Blue Apron's got the best meals you can get.
My favorite mobile game is Battle Axe.
Also, are you making a website? Because Squarespace.
Hey, nobody want to make a website on Squarespace.
Oh, man. Hey, and you know what? That's not mocking anyone who get that bag.
Yeah, get it back. It's a good e-commerce site. If you're selling your stuff, make a Squarespace for sure.
If you're getting sponsorships, get that bag.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Sell your sales and speak your speaks.
If you can make money for being like, I love Squarespace, it's my favorite website to make websites, then do it. Because then you're,
yeah. I think that there's acceptable sponsorships.
Yeah, there's definitely questionable ones, but
definitely questionable ones.
If you're like making videos about video games and you're like, oh, get this food package, who cares? Like, whatever.
Yeah. I have a couple things that I want to touch on. I got to interview Kento Jobana. He's the scenario writer on Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero. But I think what I want to talk about is so my interview hasn't gone up, but I did post like a story from within the interview that I kind of wanted to highlight. Like the significance of translating during these interviews. Sometimes it's really bad, and I think you can attest to this. Like sometimes the person translating doesn't translate what the person says,
and that happens. Like everybody has days like that, so I get it. But there are times where it's it can be a bit confusing to
Yeah,
get
like the person will talk for like a couple minutes and then the translator will be like 5 words or something.
Yeah. I always respect the ones who like take notes. I'm like, hell yeah,
yeah,
dude. Get every detail in there. That rocks.
That's not the case for NIS America, who has a producer on staff, Alan Costa, who's been there for a while. He's the one who went back and fixed East 8 after it launched, which was not his job, but it launched with some localization issues, and he stepped in to take on that. And he also ran a blog during it, so he put a lot of time into it. But this interview was so good, so insightful, that like it felt like I was actually talking to Jobana-san, and we were having a conversation, and we were talking about themes in writing and how he approaches character growth. And I just want something that may seem like, I don't know, so simple after it's read. He said it so eloquently that so the quote is, I asked about a recurrent theme in Jobana-san's work was his ability to balance complex, fantastical ideas, and narratives that remain grounded and accessible to players. And he was talking about how his quote is, many of our games feature demons, demi-humans, and other fantastical creatures with unique values and perspectives. And writing these characters requires imagining how they would view the world differently from humans. And then he continues, he says, this character is supposed to be a bridge, allowing players to understand. Oh, yes. So he in this case of Phantom Brave, he made a girl. It is the girl is the main character, and he puts a lot of himself in this girl while he's writing it. And so he explains like his approach is like, this character acts as a bridge, allowing players to understand and connect with the story without feeling alienated by unfamiliar perspectives. By offering this lens, players can observe, reflect, and but just the way that like we were talking about his approach to character development and writing. Just read the article. Yeah. I don't want to like go too much. And then the full interview just is so long that I needed to split it up because we just talked, he worked on Penny Punching Princess, and like he talked about how like he didn't want to work on it, and the president's like, no, like, because he usually does. He started his career in light novels, like in college writing fantasy light novels, and then he got it to NIS, and then he's like, well, I write dark fantasy, and Nakawa-san at the president of NIS is like, no, you're gonna work on Penny Punching Princess now, which is nothing like that.
Yeah,
and he was upset. He talks about how he was upset at first, like he didn't want to do it, and then he goes into talking about how it was like the best thing that could have happened to him in his skill set. And usually writers and developers go through a lot of media training, so when you do interview them, they never answer the question like that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're never that candid. They're just like,
rephrase the question.
Yeah, it's like you can tell that you're not getting the full story, and just his transparency and his honesty, man, it made for such a good interview. And I can only hope that I can break it down into several smaller articles for people to ingest it easier, but then the long interview will be for those who kind of want all the explanations and everything in there, because honestly, interviews kind of go and die pretty quickly. It kind of sucks, because I think interviews are the best thing about working in this industry, in terms of understanding creators and getting to know them. And it's always been like it's like collecting Pokemon for me, like
yeah, like I've talked to 151 creators.
Yeah, it's like but it feels good because I can kind of condense all of their information and then use that for me, because I'm always trying to grow, and these developers are also trying to grow. It's I don't know, it makes them feel more real in a sense.
Reminds you of people.
they're not just a name on a credit scroll. You know, it's pretty incredible. So I do encourage everybody to just read an interview a week.
Yeah,
Since you're home. One interview a week.
One interview a week for
because they do go out and then they die.
Yeah.
A lot of people read like the Square Enix interviews and stuff like that, but those guys talk to everybody. So
just Google like name interview. Like I used to look up like Masahiro Sakurai interviews just to be like, oh, I want to hear his perspective on it. And they made his YouTube channel. That made it way easier to hear all that.
Yeah, that YouTube channel is amazing too.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And it doesn't have as many views as it should.
Anytime I go and like eat sushi at a restaurant by myself, I'll like have it muted and like, cause there's subtitles anyway. And I'll just watch his things and like gain his wisdom while I eat. I'm like, wow, this rocks.
Since I'm not reviewing a lot of games, I've been like tackling a lot of like smaller features that I've kind of been in my pocket. One of them was from this game that I played back in February called Shanghai Summer.
Mm-hmm.
And just a 5-hour adventure game from publisher Astrolabi Games. They've been working on a lot of like China Hero Project stuff, and if anyone knows me, I love Chinese developed games, mainly because like I do think that they're often overlooked in main media. Unless something big comes up like Sword and Fairy or some significant Chinese game comes up. But I think that a lot of great games come out of China, and China Hero Project over there is probably one of the best incubators that they have. And I think Astrolabi Games is a part of that now, in terms of working with them. So Shanghai Summer, I just had to tell a story. You know, I think all too often media has a way of convincing gamers that there's only one or two significant adventure or visual novel games released a year. And that's not the case, guys.
No, there's tons.
There's so many. I think a big name that's being passed around a lot is 1000X Resist. And yeah, you've heard of this game, I'm sure. And that's not a genre that you kind of follow, and yet Spencer knows that name. And that's what it's like. And it's a part of the Game Awards and all this stuff. But the problem with that game is that it's not that good. It's like it is a great story. It is a great story, but I don't think that when I played it, I feel like I've played a lot of the story beats that it was hitting on were so personal to the developer that I didn't feel like it had the same issue as a lot of other indie games where it becomes too personal.
Yeah.
And you don't even know, am I supposed to relate to this, or am I supposed to feel for this character? Am I supposed to like where do I fit in this narrative? And there's so many other visual novels that do that better. But maybe they get gameplay worse, you know? Mm-hmm. Maybe they know how to tell a story, but they don't know how to do gameplay. So Shanghai Summer gameplay is mid, kind of. It's kind of slow, you know, it's just hanging out. But you know what? Like the guy in it, he lives in a world of what ifs, and the timeline of the story kind of reflects that in terms of what if, and I think every night when I go to bed, I think maybe like 15 minutes, I'm, well, what if I did that 15 years ago, or what? Like, you know, and it's
too.
But it doesn't stop there, because in that 5 minutes, you can kind of follow that what if scenario until whatever time, you know,
way too long.
Yeah,
you can spend
and then you remind yourself, wait, no, that's not how it happened. You know, it's
you're like, none of that's real. I'm still laying in bed with what I've got. So,
and that's how it is with this game. It's like, and there's a reason for that, and that's what you get out of at the end of the 5-hour game. But he lives through these what if scenarios, these decisions that you're making, and you hit so many bad ends, and then you get in a timeline and you go back. But that just reflects a lot of like my life, and how he came to terms with it was still messy, but such is life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no like, you kind of wish that you do you're going to end up on this true route, you know? And
yeah, you're like, I'm going to get the good ending.
Yeah. And in this case, I don't know, you know, in this case, it's in like the beholder of the game to where did we follow the right path? You know, after all of these bad ends, is this it? And such a good story. And I think games like this heavily overlooked. It's $7 on Steam, guys. It's like, it's 5 hours, you know, and the localization's kind of bad. It's kind of stilted in some senses, but I understood the story. And, but I'm glad for this time of year because I get to write these kinds of things. I'm not like super weighed down with reviews and a bunch of, no one's emailing me because PR doesn't really send around these times because everyone's taking vacation.
Holidays and vacations.
So yeah, please check that out. Read that review if you want, or read that a little feature from me if you want to hear about something. Sorry, my dogs are, I don't know if you hear them, but they're wrestling.
Dogs are barking.
The dogs are dogging. But yeah, that's kind of the week. I reviewed Princess Prison.
How was it?
Or Prison Princess, sorry. It's not a good game. It's a sexy game. Gave it 6 out of 10 for the lulz.
For the lulz. For the
I can't do. We used to do the points.
Yeah.
We used to give every H game a 6.9
for the epic win. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't do that anymore. You don't have Thanksgiving in Canada, so I'm sorry.
We had it in October.
Well,
we already did ours.
You got to be first for everything, huh? Wait, you pillaged the pilgrims too?
No,
you came and stole land from everyone too?
I mean, we did do that. That wasn't great. But I don't think that's connected to Thanksgiving for ours. I don't know the Canadian Thanksgiving rules. But I'll probably have like my dad likes to make like a little dinner for like American Thanksgiving. So yeah.
Hey, take it.
Hey, take what you can get.
I always like the story of when America tried to free Canada from the French, and the French fought back. They're like, no.
Yeah. That's the French.
Yeah.
I say with my last name. But yeah.
It's like, no, we're fine. America does that a lot. They did that to the Philippines too. The Philippines didn't really take kindly to that either.
They're like, hey man,
we don't really want you here.
We'll do our thing.
But other than that, I think that's our episode. We did pretty good.
Hope you enjoyed.
This is a free episode for the YouTubers.
Yeah.
And the podcast listeners. But Patreon, we have there's links below, but support us or don't. It's a busy time of the year. You can wait till next year.
It's an expensive time, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be here next year. You can throw us a $5 if you want.
Throw us a freaking bone.
Did you watch Gladiator 2?
No, I haven't yet. I only saw the first one for the first time last week.
Oh my god. Have you seen the trailers?
Yeah.
Oh. There's sharks in it. Did you know that?
Yeah, I saw that in the trailer. That's exciting.
So when I saw the sharks, I was like, freaking laser beams. And I couldn't stop laughing in the movie theater when I fucking...
That rocks. That's drunk. Me. That's going to be me 100%.
I was a little drunk. Freaking laser beams.
Sharks with laser beams on their heads.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Have a great week. Have a great Thanksgiving if that's your deal.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you, all of you, even you, DC Fat Cat.
Oh yeah, that too.
Losey, appreciate you. Thankful for Losey. Thankful for Brian.
For Stab and Fire.
Yeah. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Everyone.
Noisy Pixel.